I'll be quiet. Okay, looks like now we're streaming. Hello, everybody. This is
It doesn't. I don't.
no audio yet. Oh my god. All right, guys, you're gonna have to let us know if you're that the audio's coming on or not.
Good, we're good.
We're good. Okay.
Oh, there we go.
All right.
There we go.
Taking it from the actual top.
Uh,
Hi, folks. This is Jay Sailor, and welcome to the first stream of my channel. Today, I am joined by my co-hosts, Squasher
hello.
and Koopa.
Sure. Hello.
Now, this stream, for most of its entirety, is going to be about the train wreck that was E3 2021. Koopa, since you were the poor soul that actually had to slog through that nonsense, would you like to start us off on that?
Very well. Today I've called this meeting of the round table to discuss some near and dear to my heart. At least it used to be. Today we're going to be discussing the state of the gaming industry, particularly in the West. Or at least, the facade that it's now is. We're going to be talking about what used to be the most important event in gaming, the Electronic Entertainment Expo, otherwise known as E3, which is hosted by the Electronic Software Association, an organization that, for better or worse, represents the gaming industry, both to the eyes of the public and to the state and in the halls of Congress. It was an organization that was formed in the early '90s as congressional backlash to the game Mortal Kombat and other such games threatened to bring down the hammer of censorship on the industry. Now it seems yet the industry anti-censorship regulators have become the censors.
Indeed.
Before we go into this, I would like for us to have a little reading of a poem. Not because I believe we're the most cultured group out there. To be honest, we're just a bunch of autists on the internet. But because this particular poem pretty much summarizes the state of things as it stands for the gaming industry, for the ESA, and the future going forward. The poem that we'll be reading, Ozymandias, by B. Shelley. Eller, if you will.
Alright, I have it ready to go here. I met a traveller from whom an antiquity land, who said, 2 vast and trunkless legs of stone stand in the desert. Near them on the sand, half sunk, a shattered visage lies, whose frown and wrinkled lip and sneer of cold command tell that its sculptor well those passions read which yet survive, stamped on these lifeless things, the hand that mocked them and the heart that fed. And on this pedestal these words appear: My name is Ozymandias, King of Kings. Look upon my works, ye mighty, and despair. Nothing besides remains. Round the decay of that colossal wreck, boundless and bare, the lone and level sands stretch far, far away.
Beautiful.
Thank you very much.
Absolutely beautiful. As you can imagine, we're gonna trek into a barren wasteland devoid of life, where no birth may spring. Once stood a mighty empire which had over the years crumbled to the empty, vast ruins we see before us. Before we dig in, does anyone have any opening comments to share? Hey Sailor, as this is your channel, you may start.
Alright, I'm going to be the first to admit I did not watch E3. I have not watched E3 at all for the last several years. About the only thing from E3 I actually really cared about was the one where they first released Doom and then Doom Eternal, because those are really the only games of worth within the span of the last few years. To be honest with you folks, E3 has been a dumpster fire since basically the 2010s started. And it's not going to get any better, it's just going to get worse. Splasher, do you have anything to add?
Sure.
Nope, I'm 100% agree with you. I haven't cared since ever. Really.
Now, I will
All right.
throw this little warning at you before we get fully started. We will get political, because these things are political in nature, and to not talk about their political nature is an exercise in insanity. So, if you are at all dissuaded by this
Siding
fact,
complete
I highly recommend
honesty.
you sit out those parts. Otherwise, let's get started.
Oh,
Yes.
before we do this, I would like to bring up. We're not the ones who are bringing up the politics. They started it.
Very much.
Just want to point this out.
Yeah.
They started
We're not
it,
the ones
not
who
us.
invited the
Don't go
politics to
blaming
the
us.
party.
Yes. In fact, we'd be happy if they stayed out.
You see,
Very
games.
happy.
You see, games are about entertainment. They're about having fun. They're about coming home from an 8-hour shift at work, chilling back, and killing some dudes. Because it's fun. Because it's a good way to relieve some stress. These people, on the other hand, see video games as nothing more than another platform for them to espouse their propagandic messages of how they think the world should be. If you really want that, pal, go post a 95 scripture note on a church door.
Yikes. Very well, let us begin our arduous journey into the forbidden wastes and ruins that is the gaming industry. Now, for the sake of keeping this show short, we're only going to be covered what was shown in E3. Not going to be showing Jeff Keighley's Summer Game Fest, though it has its own problems. However, talking about those problems are talking about a splinter in your toe when you got like 20 daggers coming out of your chest. Yeah, we are kind of prioritizing what was more dire. Now, during the opening day, before it even began, the panel of hosts were shown off on the E3 official website, and a name appeared which I was very much familiar with. I very much got angry over. That, of course, would be the one, the only, backstabbing Greg Miller.
Greg Miller.
Wrote a little piece beforehand. In fact, I wrote most of what I'm saying right now beforehand. I'll keep myself on track and from stuttering. You'll notice when we're in the impromptu bits when I'm more of a stuttery a-hole.
Don't worry about it, man.
No problems. But I wrote this beforehand. In fact, I wrote it when I was writing my initial notes. And this comes straight from the bottom of the deepest, blackest holes and cockles of my blackened black heart. Greg Miller is a cancer upon the gaming industry. It's an abomination that stands in defiance of all things that represent what's good and what's light. Continuation is only perpetuated by tyrants and fiends who wish to seek only to use him as a tool to fulfill their wicked ends. Still, there are some on our side, on the light, who believe that he has a right to exist. Even though going as far as to say no true balance can be achieved without both our actual gamer voices and the voices of Greg Miller and his game journalist friends. It's a noble sentiment but it's a sentiment of non-aggression and, in the end, of outright cowardice. No, it would seem that the only true balance we can gain in the gaming industry and game journalism and the gaming fandom in general is a future without Greg Miller or his game journalist friends. As long as they exist, they will be a cancerous rot that exists upon our once fun hobby. Gentlemen, floor is now open to discussion.
I will say this, Koopa.
I
That
have no idea who
was
this is.
I will bring up an image of him in a second. Koopa, that was very well written. You did a very eloquent, smearing, dismissive, insulting rant. I think Razor Force and Razor Fist himself would be very proud of you.
You flatter me.
Now, as for Mr. Greg Miller, I'm going to pull up an image of Mr. Greg Miller, so you know exactly who to hate. Look into the face. Look into the face of this evil. Remember his face very well, for he will haunt your dreams and will be the source of all your nightmares until he is purged from the industry for now and eternity.
Greg Miller. For those of you who are unaware, Greg Miller used to do a gaming podcast with a one Colin Moriarty. French names. Can't live with them, can't live without them.
Make France great again.
Has a very punchable face.
Colin is far from what I would call based and red-pilled. In fact, kind of a leftist cuck himself. But when he took a position that was pro-Gamergate, pro a movement that was for the gamers and against politics and video games, Eddie Boy kind of threw him under the bus, throwing away the entire partnership and friendship they had for it had to be 5 or 6 years at that point. And well, this proved his priorities. Proved that his political stance and his political statements and his connections in the industry were more important than any friendship he would ever forge with anyone else. That's the kind of person he is. That's the kind of person most game journalists are. They would throw their own mother under the bus to get more political and social clout. They're not to be trusted. They're not good people. Most of them are not even gamers. We've all seen the footage of, what's that guy? Dean Takahashi trying to play Cuphead. Failing at the fucking introduction level.
Yeah, let's be clear here. These game journalists, they are not your friends. They do not care about you. What they care about is furthering their own careers through any means necessary, including taking everything you love and turning it against you.
All game journalists are propaganda writers who didn't have the chops for the New York Times.
In fact, what is even the point of game journalists?
He has a very punchable face.
Yeah,
he does.
Yes, he does. If anyone can,
no point.
Yeah, if anyone can, go take his face and go print it onto a punching bag. You will be doing the world a favor, and then go and market the hell out of it. And yeah, to add on,
we get 5% of all punching bag sales. Just letting you know.
Indeed. Now, to add on to what Caleb was saying, onto my point, he is right. There is no point to game journalists. If anything, game journalists' entire role is completely and utterly void. We are the ones who buy the games. We are the ones who review. We are the ones who are actually trusted to tell the truth most of the time. Sometimes you have gamers out there that just simply don't care, who prefer to have the nice, cozy bonuses of being associated with these monopolies. And make no mistake, folks.
Sometimes you even have people who take fanboyism too far to the fact they're blind to very glaring faults in the game. Some even I've been guilty of for a few titles.
Indeed. So, with that punchable face very well and truly explained, shall we get to the next point?
Very well. Because it's not just about the game journalists, folks. Every E3, there's always a keynote speak to open the presentation. Usually it's delivered by someone like, say, Reggie Fils-Aimé, the former president of Nintendo of America. And president of... Is he still president of GameStop? Oh, no, he retired. He took his golden parachute and ran. Lucky son of a bitch.
Good for him.
Oh man, talk about really making bank. He really saw the writing on the wall and ran with it. Anyway, sorry. Sometimes it was Phil Spencer. Heck, I think one year it was even Todd Howard, everyone's favorite snake oil salesman. But this year it was different. This year, underline basically every problem with E3 this year, it all leads back to this. The opening speaker was Democratic Mayor of Los Angeles, Eric Garcetti, a man infamous for shutting down his own city, leaving exceptions, the Hollywood elite. Floor is now open.
I'm going to first state this. No offense to Italians. I am part Italian, but I hate Italian names because they are so hard to actually spell. No offense to you Italians, but your language is just hard to spell.
Garcetti.
Mm-hmm.
Yep. He's got quite a punchable face too, but he also looks like a grandpa.
Yes, he does. Is it just me, or all these people just have punchable faces?
It's kind of the look of smugness you get with being on the left, being a pseudo-intellectual, thinking your own shit don't stink, that sort of thing.
Indeed. Even though I despise the show South Park, they are very right when it comes to these liberal types. If you've seen that one episode where, it's not Cartman, it's the other kid, where him and his family go to San Francisco and deal with the smogness over there, you know exactly what we're talking about.
Yeah. Hell, you know it if you've seen a recent season and seen the character PC Principal.
Indeed.
Great friggin' character, because he basically fits the leftist stereotype to a T. A well-to-do white fucking supposed Chad bro, though in actuality these guys are pretty weak and pathetic. Only doing it as basically as a way to flex their virtue.
Indeed. Koopa, actually, why did they bring Garcetti on to host the game, the game start of it of all? I mean, why is a mayor being asked to go and do this?
I would assume because normally E3 is hosted in Los Angeles. However, this year it was digital only and recorded and shown remotely, so there's a good chance that most of the segments weren't even in his city, so there was honestly no reason to have him. We all know the real reason. It's because he's probably pushing for a presidential run soon.
So, it's free advertisement for him.
Uh-huh.
Oh, and Wide Awake Viking, you're right. Smog was a documentary episode. You can easily testify that.
Indeed.
Alright, you guys ready to move on?
Very well. Josh, you got anything?
No, I'm just glad I don't live in California.
Aren't we all?
Hey man, I live in New Mexico. I have to deal with Californians all the time. No offense to you Northern Californians, you guys are cool. But to you folks living in Southern California, learn to drive.
Particularly the coastal cities.
Our highways. You drive to 70 to 90 miles per hour. You do not drive 60. Learn to drive.
Goes double for Floridians.
Learn to drive.
Holy crap, you will not believe how many accidents they cause here in South Carolina.
Caleb,
I can believe it.
Yeah.
Learn to drive and also leave behind your voting practices. Your voting practices cause what turned your state into a shithole in the first place. Leave them behind.
You see, they have more, but Squasher, you don't understand. They have more money than sense, and they want to make everything that they touch be exactly like them. These are not people you can reason with. They are jokers from the Dark Knight. The only thing that can be done with them, well,
come in the balls.
Indeed.
All right. Before we take up too much of your time and turn into EFAP, where we're going off for 11 hours about self-referential memes, let's get into the actual meat, because the first presentation was from everyone's favorite French Canadians, Ubisoft.
Oh dear.
Oh no.
Now, to let you guys know, they had a few things before showing their actual showcase, in which a few of their games were announced for PC. Epic exclusives. Soft as asshole.
No.
They also had an inclusivity panel. I'm sure this inclusivity panel has nothing to do with the CEO and his executive chief of his board directors, being all of which were being accused of rape and sexual molestation of their employees. Nothing to do with that at all.
What?
When we finally got started, we got shown something that, quite frankly, reminded me of Left 4 Dead, except it wasn't very good. Something, of course, is Rainbow Six Extraction.
Oh dear. Give me a second, folks. I'm going to pull up the trailer, and we're going to just watch that silently, because copyright will destroy us if we actually try to play the audio on it.
Mind bringing up a screen share?
Oh no.
Give me a moment here.
Doing this over Discord, folks.
Also, look into the face of that thing. What is this? What is this? Who designed this? Who? Why? Why? And give me a second, guys. I will do the screen share in a second.
Probably should have done this before the show, but I just thought of it now. I am sorry.
That's fine.
Oh my god, what is that thing?
What the fuck?
Someone's got a complex.
Okay.
Yeah. All right, guys. You ready? Ready to play?
Yeah, let's EFAB this.
Okay. Do you want me to actually play the audio or just keep it silent?
Should be able to get away with a little bit of audio as long as we talk over it and pause every few seconds.
All right. Let's go.
Yeah.
I used to feel so much peace.
Oh, your obligatory
God.
French protagonist.
Still a piece of it fell.
Oh my god, she's so ugly. Kinda looks like one of the creative developers too. Self-insert.
Yeah. Folks, I live in New Mexico. I deal with sandstorms all the time. You get hit with a shock blast like that, the sand will rip into you like glass. She would not be fine. She would not be walking all dramatic. She would be on the floor bleeding.
Had blizzards that do pretty much the same thing, and that's just frozen water.
By the way, I need to pause it here
Cinematics.
I need to pause it here for a second. And this is just a general complaint I have with these type of things, but I despise the fact that in these types of tactical shooters, you always have these unique costumes for all the characters, even though if they go into an actual combat situation and, you know, they're going to go fight some terrorists, they would not all be wearing unique outfits. They would all be wearing the same uniform because that's how you identify each other.
Not only that, but you should be wearing body armor. I mean, sure, a bullet is going to hurt, but it's better hurt than dead with a hole in your body.
Also, why are they wearing yellow? Why are they wearing yellow? Do you want to be shot?
More than that, I just want to point out, like almost a minute in, not a single bit of gameplay has been shown.
No.
Most of this has been cinematics, a problem that's plagued E3 for a while now. Hell, there was one year that I think it was Bethesda had an entire showcase, not a single second of gameplay was shown for any of the games they shown off.
Indeed.
The ones that were coming out in just a couple weeks.
Also, thanks for joining the server here, Comrade Orc. It's glad to see you here. If you guys don't know, and Orc, I'm going to throw some publicity at you. Orc is the head of the Deaf Core of Creek project, and he has been a joy to work with. Orc, I hope to do more good work with you soon. And with that, let's continue.
Congrats on the new job, Orc. Was the one who was bought out, right?
Yeah.
You will find me
What is this?
first.
Is Venom invading Rainbow Six? Is that what's happening? Is this Venom?
I think it's supposed to be their take on aliens and zombies, because they couldn't do aliens or zombies. Both have been done before.
Oh God. Yes, let's totally parachute into this place with just 3 guys. Never mind, fire teams almost always routinely operate in teams of 10. Oh, and you're completely right, Zenith. This is based off of Tom Clancy's novels. I highly recommend you guys actually go and read Rainbow Six. It's better than this crap.
Oh, how the mighty have fallen. See what I mean about Left 4 Dead?
Yeah.
Already fighting the weak-ass zombies.
Also, can I just say this? I'm going to quote Nando V Movies here. Gray, ugly, big villains. Why do all the creatures nowadays have to be gray? Why can't we have color?
Because they can't be zombies.
They can be zombies.
And
they can
there's
have
a
color.
boss zombie. Different types of zombies with different special powers. Except they're not zombies, they're some sort of alien.
Yeah.
This is totally not a ripoff of Left 4 Dead, guys. Please don't sue us.
No. Also, what is that abomination he's carrying? Is that like a Chris Vector mixed with a shotgun?
Looks like.
If you guys don't know, a Chris Vector is a 45 Glock package. Basically, you take a Glock pistol and you attach this body here to make it essentially a rifle. But this magazine is big. It's too big for a 45 caliber. It's the same size you'd have for a shotgun. That's what I'm saying. It's a Chris Vector meets a shotgun, and it looks horrible.
Who assumed game devs actually know their guns? They screech at the very sight of them.
Yet they want to sell us games where we're shooting stuff.
While taking away our actual guns that actually let us shoot them.
Also, one other thing I should bring up here. Anytime that special operators have to extract somebody, they will almost always zip tie them because, well, you need to make sure they're not a threat. So, Fireman carrying this guy is potentially a recipe for disaster. Because who knows, maybe this guy's infected. Maybe he might pull your knife out and stab you. Maybe he might explode. But at the very least, zip tie his hands so they cannot hurt you.
They could already be infected.
Oh my god. What is this?
It looks like a mix between the Predator and a really bad zombie design.
Yeah.
Barely been shown gameplay this entire thing. I don't think even the gameplay they shown was actual gameplay.
Nope.
Why
I
not?
think even cinematics.
Squasher, you were saying?
You do not shoot from the hip. Why would you shoot from the hip at a flying target coming at you? To be fair, it's not like he could have missed, but still.
Yeah. Also, one other thing I need to bring up here. What is with this equipment? Where is their containment suits? Like, what if these things spread via just spores? What if they spread through bodily contact? What if the spores are able to just touch your skin and you're infected? Why are you showing all
Aren't
this?
Aren't they wearing 6 masks?
Yeah. This makes no sense.
Nothing makes sense anymore. It's the world we live in.
That was just Nancy Pelosi off camera. You're right. Oh, look, we ran out of a budget, so we're just gonna blind our viewers.
Oh, man.
Hey, you all throwing me a party?
Yeah. Too much yeast on the fireworks.
How much?
For a sec.
Yeah.
Woman they've shown off, Native American woman, name Thunderbird.
Freaking.
Shit you not.
Hey,
Thunderbird.
does that mean Marvel's gonna sue them? Because I'm pretty sure Thunderbird is also a Native American character.
I'm just saying, for people who shit their pants over everything being offensive, they name their Native American character the most fucking stereotypical thing.
Thunderbird.
Because they're not genuine. Because they're not genuine.
I don't know, Pac-Man. I really don't know why it's green, but... Well, actually, I do know why it is. This is run by a bunch of hipster French-Canadian fools. Just... Ugh, God.
Yeast on the fireworks.
Green-haired lady is a skinnier version of one of the creative directors. They had an interview.
Oh, God.
I'm not gonna go dig up the interview because it was horrible to watch.
It would be
I
funny...
swear it was almost a 1-for-1.
It would be funny if Rainbow Six turns into COD Zombies. COD Zombies is at least fun. Oh, man.
Good characters, too. Like, give me Dempsey, Rick Tolfin.
Give me Rambo.
And,
They announced Rambo for COD
Nikolai.
Zombies. I'm happy.
Oh, yeah.
Oh.
I'm coming to get you.
Did they?
They did.
Yeah, a while back, remember?
God, zombies. Let me see if he pops up. Rambo. Yep, there he is. Rambo.
Well, wow. color me satisfied. Color me
I forgot Bruce Willis's character from, what was it? The Christmas movie, Die Hard.
Die Hard. I'm gonna be honest, even though I love Bruce Willis and Die Hard, if him and Rambo actually got into a fight, John McClane will lose. John McClane is savage, don't get me wrong. He is resourceful, and that man can walk on glass like nobody's business, but he's no Rambo. Rambo is a one-man army.
Rambo is a borderline Gary Steele in places.
Yes, but we love him regardless.
Indeed.
Alright.
Go-to action hero.
Indeed. So,
Alright.
Is that, will that be the end of our dissection of this monstrous thing that is Rainbow Six?
Nope, we're not even at the tip of the iceberg.
Oh, no.
Oh, I'm skipping over titles that were just blah, or we wouldn't have much to talk about. We actually discussed this beforehand, and cherry-picked what we would be able to talk about for more than a few minutes.
Mm-hmm.
There were, a little later in the show, there was a sizzle reel featuring updates for games they already had out. One of which being For Honor, which Jay Sailor plays.
Indeed, I do.
Most religiously.
All right. A little earlier, somebody said Ubisoft doesn't make good games. I will disagree with that for one exception. For Honor is a pretty decent game. Its universe that it creates. The fighting mechanics itself and even some of the characters are genuinely fun. That being said, this...
You used to enjoy this game so much you drew your own fan factions.
Yes, I did. Yes, I did. And now, well, let me put it this way. We've been going through, ever since COVID really hit us badly, we've been going through an actual content drought for Honor for several months now, to the point that the latest heroes of the end of the game, Warmonger and Griffin, literally have most of their assets pulled directly from other heroes. But whereas Warmonger did this horribly, Griffin actually was somewhat interesting about it. So, with all that drought, they decided to actually take the content drought and turn it into the next season of For Honor. Let me put it this way. Ashfeld is a tundra, it is a forest, and it is apparently also a swamp, and yet somehow it's been turned into a desert.
this didn't mean that we're finally getting our Middle East faction.
I have no idea. That being said, the Woolland...
If we get the Saracens, I'd be happy.
Indeed. That being said, the Woolland can have skins that make them look Middle Eastern. Like, I think Nexia essentially has a Shemagh mask that she can put over her face.
I mean, to be fair, about 2 of them were based on Mongolians who the Empire reached all the way into Iraq.
Indeed. No, we're totally not copying off of Ghost of Tsushima.
Everyone's not copying off of Ghost of Tsushima these days. I wonder why they're not copying off of not copying off of Last of Us Part 2. Big thunk right there.
Indeed.
Oh yeah. After all, Last of Us 2 won Game of the Year last year.
Yeah. I wonder why they're not copying the Game of the Year. I wonder why they're only copying a nominee.
Indeed.
A nominee that was qualified in at least almost every category that Last of Us won.
Yeah, you want to know what Last of Us 2 is really Game of the Year for? It's Game of the Year for finding the most creative ways to kill your player character, because nobody wants to play as the chick that murdered Joel.
Nope. Oh, Greg Miller does, but he doesn't count. He's a cunt.
So, that's the state of the game that I have poured some 4 years into. A literal content drought turned into an actual freaking season. That being said, if the hero is interesting and he actually comes with armor, which I doubt he will, I might actually play as him.
I just want to point out, we're still like only 4 or 5 into the new Chinese faction, when all the rest are up to 8 or 9.
Indeed. Oh, by the way, Squasher, is that your, do you have a fan on in the background?
I'm sorry. Yeah, I do. It's hot up here.
It's all
Do you want
right.
me to turn it off?
No, that's okay, that's alright. That's okay for now.
Alright.
Which actually brings me to a point.
Okay.
For Honor, I'm not the only person who says this, and there are plenty of other people who will put it more eloquently than I do. But For Honor, when it was originally announced, I'm going to play the trailer here, back in E3 of 2015, again, one of the few E3s I actually watched because I was interested in this game, was set in a grounded, fantastical setting. Where we were playing as knights, we were playing as Vikings, and we were playing as samurai in this brutal conflict. There was no fantastical magic, there was just men. Manly men in suits of armor, bashing each other for the glory of whatever god they served and the resources needed to wage war. Look at this man.
Was sold to us as a spiritual successor to Bushido Blade. It's the whole reason why I pre-ordered it. I still have it physical on my shelf, I just never played it.
Indeed. Look into the eyes of this guy here. He looks like a true fighter. I mean, look at all these Vikings. Even though they look stereotypical, they at least look cool. And also, I don't care about your anime logic. No katana is going to be able to do this. You cannot cut through steel armor with a sword.
To be fair, they're all in the Ashland, so they have the access to the same quality of metal.
To be fair, that doesn't matter. Steel is not going to cut steel.
Like right here.
Unless it's poorly made, but even then.
Like right here. This is perfectly possible. You know, this is an actual pretty good technique. Block the, forgive my Japanese terminology here, guys. I am not very privy to it, but block this spear. Stab him in the gut with your arming sword, and you are good to go.
The Naginata.
Oh,
Away.
the thing
Thank
is,
you very much, Naginata.
Realistically, if these factions were portrayed as they are supposed to be, the Knights would have dominated Ashfeld. Like, they had the technological expertise and the numbers to do it.
Yeah, on top of that, let's not forget for a fact that the Knights have access to freaking gunpowder. You can actually throw bombs and what have you at your targets. It won't be long before they start actually developing primitive blast cannons.
I think there's actually
the
cannons
Japanese
in the game.
and apparently the Japanese are the samurai are just so skilled, and the Viking. I don't know what the Vikings' advantage is. I really don't.
Screaming
Advantage is
Valhalla,
schism and
apparently.
heavy metal.
Yeah, Screaming Valhalla, apparently. But regardless of whatever flaws you saw here, at least this trailer looks exciting. At least you're like, Vikings, knights, samurai, I totally want to play this. That was my reaction when I first saw this game. And it made me
My
want...
reaction, and I enjoyed it the first few days.
That right there.
Then it got bogged down with so much fucking free-to-play, freemium content that it was actually too big for my PlayStation's hard drive.
Indeed.
To actually need an external hard drive just to play one game. Wasn't gonna go and buy a hard drive for a game I barely play because I have no friends to play it with. I didn't know JCLR at the time. If I did, I'd probably still be playing it.
Indeed. So that was the opening cinematic trailer. And we saw, again, a grounded, somewhat low fantasy setting. Now, compared to today, let me see, hold on a second, Season 13, I think? Let's see, Rise of the Warmongers, is that it? Oh yeah, here we go. Now compare it to nowadays.
Yes, the group of Satan-worshipping, child-sacrificing, heart-eating jackasses. Like, this group is so edgy, it's ridiculous.
Yeah. We are looking at the Warmongers. They were the second to last new characters that were introduced into the game. They are based upon the main villain of the campaign called Apollyon. Apollon's whole shtick is that man is weak when it's not in the constant state of war, that the sheep dominate, and that the wolves must take back what is rightfully theirs. The character was interesting. The copycat faction that was created for them is not. They are not just edgy, they're unbearable. They are pretentious.
They are what the Sonic fanboys thinks that Shadow the Hedgehog is.
Indeed. And this is a complaint I had back in the day when these were first introduced. Now, when it comes to For Honor, you have characters that are gender launched, but most of the time they actually make sense. For example, Nobushi, who's based off of the Koopa, you're better with terminology. What is the name of the female samurai? Onegations?
Oh, crud, I don't remember. Usually the female samurai were just considered samurai. It was a caste, it wasn't a job.
True. But the Nobushi was ultimately created as a character to represent that, so it made sense that they were gender locked. Centurions, there were no female centurions, so again it made sense for the centurions to be gender locked. Then you had gladiators. You had rare occasions in Roman history of female gladiators, so it made sense for them to be there. But when it came to Warmonger, Warmonger is not a character.
Hey, you got the WWE Divas.
Yeah, indeed. Warmonger, like I said before, is not a character. Warmonger is a class of knights, basically. They are a faction dedicated to the idea of Apollyon, and yet they decided to go and break their own rule about this. They made Warmonger exclusively female, which, let's be honest here, royally ticked off literally everybody in the community because we were essentially being...
included.
Oh yeah, because we were being granted a Warden Light character who actually had good plate armor. And she has armor that's better than even this. And yet it is being exclusive to an edgelord... Nurglite bitch, basically. And I know people might say that I am sexist. Well, here's my counter argument to that. You are being sexist for making this character exclusive. Because when you play For Honor, Warden is one of the most common characters that is played. And you have plenty of male wardens. You have plenty of female wardens. It is perfectly fine. It allows you the ultimate means of expressing yourself, as contrived as that might sound. By making this chick only a chick, you have excluded a large part of your population, your gaming population, that likely would have bought this character if they had the means to properly express what kind of character they actually wanted to. Like Autistic Whisperer just said, it's female empowerment. You are correct. It's especially the case when you look at the developers who, well, look like that green-haired lady we just saw earlier. They are French-Canadian hipsters whose idea of making a new game, a new, campaign, if you will, is to introduce, I kid you not, Draconite. Draconite, Draconite is literally this, crystal infestation that apparently makes you super powered. I'm going to see if I can scroll up and find it.
This game looks so much like a mobile game now.
Yes, it does.
My God.
Look at this. Apparently this guy's been infected with some kind of rock infestation that makes him invincible. I remember playing this. I remember playing this game mode. I was not at all impressed. I mean, I like the idea of playing against the AI. When the Chinese dropped, there was a game mode where you had to escort an emperor from one side of the map to the other. It was actually fun. This was not fun. Its gameplay was absolutely badly designed. It felt like you were basically slamming your head against a wall. And so why do I continue playing, you might ask? Because I just enjoy the core of the game. I play Breach. I play Dominion. I play, group games where you can go against multiple different opponents. I like the customization of certain heroes. But, I don't know. The sad thing is that For Honor started out as a concept, as something that truly could have been great. It started out as this sort of grounded... Yeah, it started out as a sort of grounded, semi-realistic setting that was dark, it was foreboding, it was macabre, but you just wanted to play it. And now? Well, Koopa...
Now it's just a Raid Shadow Legends clone on consoles.
Indeed. In fact, let's pull up the gameplay here from 2015. Look at this! Look at this lighting!
Please sponsor us.
Look at the detail here. I mean, just look at the atmosphere. I realize that this is all probably, motion captured, but still, what we see here is substantially better than what we ultimately got. Look at this guy. Look at this knight here. He's Conqueror, but he's actually wearing a full plate harness. It's kind of an anachronistic.
I believe they have their own mocap studios.
Yeah. I mean, the armor's a little anachronistic. You shouldn't have a flat-top great helm with this kind of 15th century armor, but it still looks good. Squasher, you were saying?
I wish this guy was in the game. Where is this guy? What happened to him? Why is he not in the game?
Oh, you wanted to see something else?
There was because
I play the game too.
There was a warden just standing right here, and now he's gone. Where did he go? Let me back that up a second.
No.
There's
the
warden.
That one guy's knife went to in The Last Jedi.
Yeah, he just disappeared. No sound, but...
That gunpowder you talked about.
I mean, also, one other thing I need to talk about is they actually make the minions kind of a threat. They have them throwing